My name is Somashekar, course faculty for this course. Now next category is a radial piston pump. You will see friends here how the pistons the pistons are inserted radially in the cylinder block. Then you will see here, please understand the figure here friends. This is a rotating block, cylinder block, middle one, which has a radial slots are there. In the radial slot through the spring, what I did, I inserted the pistons. The pistons are always in line with the what it is, the fixed ring. Then you will please understand this friends, axis of the fixed ring is a outer one where the pistons always in contact during the rotations, and axis of the rotating block are upset. Also you will note inlet and outlet ports are at the middle, you will see here. When it will rotate, what happens during the half revolution, what happens, pistons will come out. Come out means what happens, oil will be sucked in this half. Then when it will rotate in another half, pistons will be pushed in. What happens during pushing, discharge will take place. Please note here, inlet and outlet ports are here. Same figures I have shown here. Always there is an offset between the axis of the fixed ring and axis of the rotating cylinder block. Quickly you will see the construction. It consists of a rotating cylinder block here, and it contains a equally spaced radial pistons arranged radially around the cylinder center. You will see. A spring pushes the piston against the inner surface of the encircling stationary ring, fixed ring I am writing, no, encircling stationary ring, mounted eccentric to the cylinder block. The piston draws in fluid during one half of the revolution, and another half of the revolution pistons pushes the fluid out of the piston. Greater the ring eccentricity, the longer is the piston stroke and the more fluid they transfer. Please note, the delivery of radial piston pumps can reach up to 1000 liters per minute, and the operating pressure ranges from 1500 bar. You see the better understanding it is, I have shown the pistons here, you will see the pistons radially they are arranged. Here also you will see friends, there are various pistons are there for better understanding. Then this is what we will call the surface where it will contact during the motion. See here, there are various pistons are there during the eccentric. Now you will see friends, this will make rotor is rotating, it will pushing the cylinder in and out, through which the inlet and outlet is taking place. Okay, this is also called as a reaction ring, where the piston when it will thrown out, it will touch to the inner surface. It is also called the reaction ring, and rotors are mounted eccentrically. This is called a pintle, one more name. You will see now the different design. Rotor is, you will see different designs, rotors. The movement of this rotor will pushes the piston in and out, through which what happens, the inlets and outlet. Don't think there are so many inlets, all are staggered to the only one tank. Okay, this is a different radial piston pump designs. This is actually photograph of this. After knowing the different types of piston pumps, quickly we will see very quickly the pump failures. Why the pump failures will take place? What are the reasons? The one of the most common forms of pump failure experienced in hydraulic industry is a pump cavitation. What is this pump cavitation? Pump cavitation occurs when suction lift is excessive and the inlet pressure falls below the vapor pressure of the fluid, meaning usually it is about 0.3447 bar at the suction. As a result, the vapor bubbles form in the low pressure inlet region. and are collapsed when they will reach the high pressure outlet region. This produces the high fluid velocities and impact forces. So what? Which will erodes the surface of the metallic components and carries these small pieces of the pump with them during the exit. The result is shortened the pump life. Some signs what you are seeing in the cavitation, loud noise, often described as a grinding or a marble in the pump. Loss of flow capacity, meaning bubbles are now taking up space where the liquid should be. That's why it is flow capacity is very less. The vapor bubbles are forming many in the suction side. Otherwise, it will suck the full fluid. Pitting damage to the parts. At the exit, what happens? They will make the impact, wears out the part. So, the pitting damage of the part. So, creating the positive head on the inlet will completely eliminate the pump cavitation and increase the longevity of the hydraulic pump. I will show you some of the factors causing the cavitations apart from the what I have discussed. Undersized plumbing, clogged lines or suction filters, high fluid viscosity, too much elevation head between the reservoir and the pump inlet. So, the following are the main points to be considered for elimination or control of the cavitation. What we will do to overcome the cavitation? Keep suction line velocities below 1.2 meters per second. Keep the pump inlet lines as short as possible. Minimize the number of fittings in the inlet line. Mount the pump as close as possible to the reservoir. Use low pressure drop inlet filters. Use proper oil as recommended by the pump manufacturer, because they will specify which type of oil you have to use with the various properties including viscosities also. This is what I have told you. At the inlet side, low pressure region, what happens? Vapor bubbles will start and they will grow. When they will reach the higher outlet side, high velocity, they will impact and they will make the pitting damage on the various parts. This will be severe if you are not taken care to overcome the cavitations. These are the failure parts. So, the important consideration while selecting the pump are: pump selection is important decision in hydraulic circuit design. Designer must compare the various options available and then choose the optimum pump. The major factor in adopting a pump to a particular system is the system's overall needs. It would be wrong to use the pump with high delivery in a system that requires only a low delivery rate. On the contrary, using a pump that must produce at its peak continuously just to meet the minimum requirement of the system is equally wrong. Making either of these mistakes produce a poor system due to excessive initial pump cost or a maintenance cost. So, one should very careful while selecting the pumps, whether shall I use a gear pump which has a fewer moving parts, also not so precise compared to the piston pump, or shall I use a piston pump which has a large number of moving parts and all are closed tolerance. Due to this, it is more expensive as compared to the gear pumps. So, typical comparison of the various types of pumps in terms of pressure, discharge, maximum speed, efficiency. listed here for easy understanding. The pump type, gear pump, vane pump, axial piston pump, radial piston pump. Each has a different pressure rating, discharge, maximum speed, overall efficiency. You will see the gear pump pressure is 20 to 175 bar, discharge is 7 to 1570 liters per minute, maximum speed is 1800 to 7000 RPM, overall efficiency 75 to 90 because of the leakage of oil more. Also, they are not close tolerance as compared to the axial piston pumps and the radial piston pumps. Vane piston pumps are in between. Correct? You will see these characteristics while selecting the which type of pump is required based on the pressure, discharge, what you required, maximum speed and overall efficiency. Also, you will see the main factors considered while selecting the pump are listed below. Please understand, friend, what is your flow requirement. Based on that, you have to select the pumps. Then operating speed, meaning pump drive speed. What is your pump drive speed is required. Or pressure rating, which pressure rating you are working. Pump size and weight of the pump also matters. Type of fluid and its properties. Pump contamination tolerance, performance, meaning efficiency characteristics, because when you will buy the pump, all volumetric efficiency, mechanical efficiency, overall efficiencies are given for the each pump. They are run at the different speeds and different testing conditions at the laboratory. You have to see that. Because what we are deriving now here is only based on the geometrical relationships. But actually, the values are different. They are giving when you will buy the pumps. Reliability, maintenance and spare parts available in the market, availability and interchangeability, pump noise, pump cost. These are some of the parameters you have to consider while selecting the pump for your applications. Now quickly we will see some of the problems on the piston pumps. This problem is depicting you. What is this? This is, when you will see this, it is a hand pump. An operator makes 15 cycles in 15-second interval using the hand pump shown in figure below. I already explained this. It is a hand pump, it is a load cylinder. It is. Each cycle consists of 2 pump strokes, intake and power stroke, meaning outlet. The pump has a piston diameter 30 mm and the load cylinder has a diameter 150 mm. The average hand force here, only hand force 100 Newton during each power stroke. Answer the following. How much load can be lifted? Then how many cycles are required to lift the load by 500 mm up? Assuming no oil leakage, the pump piston has 20 mm stroke. Then C1 is, what is the output power assuming the 80% efficiency? Quickly you will see, friends, how to do it. This, the given data are pump piston diameter is given, load cylinder piston diameter is given, the manual force F1 is given, the number of cycles is given 15 strokes per second. Then the piston force, the manual force with the leverage is there, no lever arm they are given. I am taken 100 into 550, this 500 plus 50 divided by the 50, the lever arm, you will get 1100 Newton. Then how much load can be lifted? Already we know that according to the Pascal's law, P1 equal to P2, then F1 by A1 equal to F2 by A2. We require to find out F2. F2 equal to what? A2 by A1 into F1. Here pi by 4 D2 square, pi by 4 D1 square. Pi by 4 get cancelled. We will get D2 square by D1 square into F. F is what we are getting here, the pump piston force. Then I will get the load to be lifted is around 27,500 Newton or 27.5 kilonewton. Similarly, next one is number of cycles required to lift the load by how much? 500 mm. I will take it the L2 stroke it is. Assuming no oil leakage, the pump piston has 20 mm stroke L1. How to do now? Now see here Q1 equal to Q2. What is Q1? The total volume of fluid displaced by the piston pump is equal to flow rate of load cylinder. Meaning, what is the total volume displaced by the piston pump? Area into stroke into number of strokes is equal to area into strokes of load cylinder. Here area is A1 into L1 multiplied by number of stroke N1 equal to A2 area of the load cylinder multiplied by the stroke L2. If you will do this, the thing is I am getting here, I am substituting all values, I want to find out N1. Meaning 625 strokes are required to lift the load by 500 mm by substituting the values. Now output power, you know already we know that input power equal to F1 into L stroke multiplied by the N1, then output power is multiplied with volumetric efficiency, what they are given. Here efficiency F1, L1, N1, you will get the output power is 264 watts. Now we will move on to the one more problem on the axial piston pump. Here find the offset angle of the axial piston pump that delivers 60.57 liters per minute. The pump has 9 0.0125 meter diameter pistons arranged on 0.125 diameter pistons circle. The volumetric efficiency is 95%. Also determine the piston stroke. What are the given data, friends? Pump actual flow rate is given now. LPM I converted into m cube per minute. Number of piston is given as 9. Diameter of the piston circle diameter is given piston. Volumetric efficiency is given. Then volumetric efficiency already we know that the formula QA by QT or always QT is greater than the QA. Therefore, what you will do, the QA is given, volumetric efficiency is given. Then you will calculate the QT is you will get this much. Then theoretical delivery of the piston pump is given by QT equal to Vd into N, friends. Then volumetric displacement of the axial piston pump is given by Vd equal to, already we are seeing, N is the number of pistons multiplied by the area into D multiplied by tan theta. Theta is offset angle. Then what we will do? So the offset angle tan theta is given by Qt by NAD into N. Substitute all the values. Here you will see A is nothing but pi by 4 piston D square. I will get this much. Offset angle tan theta is given by, after substituting all, I will get 0.1539 or theta equal to 8.75 degrees. Also you will remember, already we know that the offset angle tan theta equal to S by D. S is the piston stroke by piston diameter. You will get S equal to D into tan theta. D already is given diameter of the piston. You will get this much stroke. Please remember, friends, whatever the problems, only they are playing with these parameters. One more quickly we will see now. What is the theoretical flow rate from a fixed displacement axial piston pump with a 9-bore cylinder operating at 2000 rpm. Each bore has a diameter of 15 mm and a stroke of is 20 mm. Then given data, number of pistons, diameter of the pistons, drive speed, stroke. Please remember, friends, units are very, very important. You will convert all into single units. One you don't convert meter, another you will convert mm, no. All should be in the same unit. Theoretical delivery of the axial piston pump Qt equal to Vd into N. Then volumetric displacement Vd is given by volume into number of pistons into N. This volume is nothing but area into stroke. into small n, number of pistons, and capital N is a drive shaft speed. So, area, this is a 1, then I am substituting all the values, I will get Vd equal to 1.06 liters per second, or you will get 63.6 liters per minute. You will see all are very simple, they will follow these simple equations. Using the geometry, you are able to quickly, you will ascertain the what is your volumetric efficiency, all you have to calculate. Okay, I will conclude the today's lecture. Today we have discussed in detail the following: piston pumps, hand pumps, axial piston pumps, radial piston pumps, and different variants. Then we discussed the pump failure because of the pump cavitations. What are the reasons, how to overcome these cavitations? Also, we have discussed the major factor to be considered while selecting the pumps for different applications. Okay, friends, this will end the discussions on hydraulic pumps. This is covered in the lecture 5, lecture 6 and lecture 7 in detail. Each lecture is on the gear pump, vane pump and a piston pumps. We will stop now and see you all in the next class. Until then, goodbye. Thank you one and all for your kind attention. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. Thank you.